Welcome back to Disturbed Reality. Today's case once again comes from Russia, and once again it involves extremism. In October 2018, an anonymous user posted links to two videos on the WWII image board. WWII is essentially a Russian version of 4chan. In these videos, a group of young people calling themselves Project Sanitater 88 beat and killed homeless people using knives and hammers. The videos were quickly removed by the website, but they were posted on the WWII Telegram channel and they were subsequently uploaded to other websites. These videos were also published by a neo-Nazi group by the name of the White Hunter Society for a competition in which neo-Nazis showed scenes of beatings and murders. Project Sanitater 88 quickly became of interest to law enforcement in Russia. Not only were the police trying to track down the killer or killers, but so were users of the website WWII, where the original videos were uploaded. In fact, users from the website managed to find the identity of the uploader, and it turned out to be a student from St. Petersburg by the name of Vitaly Tashenko, who apparently was only 17 years old when this happened, and also another teenager of a similar age was also arrested for these crimes. So these guys were very young, which in my opinion makes this case even more disturbing. Another interesting factor surrounding this case is that it appears to be a copycat of similar acts which took place in Moscow a few years prior. Back in 2014 to 2015, there was a group of young Russian neo-Nazis. They consisted of 5 members: Pavel Voitov, the alleged leader, Elena Lobacheva, Artur Narkisov, Maxim Pavlov, and Vladislav Karatayev. This group was dubbed as the Cleaners, and they also used the moniker Sanitater 88. As mentioned previously, they were a neo-Nazi group, and what they did, they essentially targeted homeless people to kill in order to cleanse the city. They were believed to have killed around 15 people, and the methods they used were very similar to the methods used in the new Project Sanitater 88 video. They would attack unknowing homeless people, and usually what they would do, they would start with a hammer to stun the victim, and then they would stab them to death. Allegedly, they also recorded their crimes and uploaded their footage to the darknet. Now, I've not seen any information to prove that those videos exist, but that is the story. Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure. However, I do want to stress that the Project Sanitater 88 footage that was uploaded in 2018 was not from the original Cleaners. I've seen people online claim this footage was from the original crew, however, that is not the case, and that can actually be verified. In the video, there's one scene in particular where there's a church in the background, and this particular church was refurbished back in 2016, and you can clearly see in the video that the church has been refurbished, and the refurbishment only was completed after the original cleaner crew were caught. So yeah, the guys behind these videos were not members of the original Cleaners crew. And quite frankly, there is little information surrounding the guys behind these videos. Now, I'm presuming that is because when these acts were committed, they were actually minors, they weren't legally adults, and in many countries, under those circumstances, certain things can't be made known to the public because the defendants are minors. Now, from what I have found out, it appears that there were 2 perpetrators, one of which being Vitaly Tashenko, who was 17 years old when he was arrested, and also another teenager who remains unnamed. As I mentioned previously, the 2 videos showcasing the crimes were uploaded to WWII. However, these 2 videos were only shorter copies. 2 full-length videos were originally uploaded to a darknet forum. These videos were subsequently ripped and then uploaded to the surface web on Russian social media websites. Essentially, the darknet versions of these videos just contain a few extra clips, and they are much more heavily edited. So for example, they contain things like title screens, end credits, they use various different graphics. Quite frankly, their editing is much better than mine, but that's not exactly hard. I've got the editing skills of a 12-year-old. But anyway, what happens in the actual videos, and I will be talking about the dark web versions. So the first video opens up with a title screen and some introduction slides, and music is playing in the background, which is heavy metal. Once the introduction finishes, it opens up with the first clip, and it starts with the attacker facing the camera. His face is blurred out and he does a Nazi salute. You can see in the background that there is a homeless person asleep. The attacker then turns around and makes his way to the homeless person. Once he gets there, you can see the homeless person on his back asleep, and at this point the attacker stomps on the homeless man's head a couple of times. The homeless man sits up, and at this point the attacker starts stabbing him multiple times in the back and also his right arm. All while this is happening, it's happening so quick, the homeless man doesn't really realise what is happening. I don't think he realises that he's being stabbed. The attacker then kicks him in the face, which knocks out the homeless man, and then the attacker starts stabbing into his chest while he's unconscious. So that's the first clip in the first video, and by the way, these videos are basically put together like a montage would be, and for the first clip, that is the clip that is filmed outside the church, as I previously mentioned. The next clip then plays, and they find a homeless man loitering behind a dumpster. The attacker basically sucker punches him, he kicks him to the ground and starts to stomp him out. All while this is happening, it looks like the homeless man is pleading with his attacker to stop, but the attacker doesn't stop, and at this point he gets a knife and starts stabbing the homeless man in the ribs. While the stabbing is happening, according to a few comments at least, the homeless man said, "Please stop, it hurts." It's really hard to watch. That clip then finishes, and it begins a new one. In this clip, you basically see a homeless man. He's sitting in a chair, and he's overlooking a lake. The attacker quickly approaches him, and he kicks the homeless man in the face, and basically it knocks the homeless man clean out. Once he's knocked out, the attacker starts stabbing him repeatedly in the chest, and that is the clip. The next clip is just a random one. It's basically just them setting fire to an old abandoned building, and then it skips forwards to another clip. Now this clip, in my opinion, is probably the worst one, to be honest. It opens up and they find a homeless man sleeping in the woods. He's sleeping on like an old dirty mattress, and he's got a green plastic cover covering him. The attacker then removes the cover and he starts stomping on the man's head until he's unconscious. The attacker then stabs the unconscious man 5 or 6 times in the chest, then he stabs him in the neck, and you see a continuous fountain of blood shoot from the wound in his neck. As this is happening, you can hear the victim choke on his blood. The stabbing portions of the clip are then basically replayed in slow motion. The clip then skips forwards, and it shows the attackers revisiting the crime scene, and it shows that the body hasn't been discovered, and you see the body going through stages of decomposition. Then the clip ends, and the last few clips of the first video are basically just random attacks. They are not killings, they are not stabbings. It basically just shows the attackers jumping homeless people, and then the first video ends. The first video is around 7 minutes long, whereas the second video is around 5 minutes long. Now the second video doesn't contain as much stabbing, I guess I would say. The second video is mainly just assaults, but what stands out about the second video, believe it or not, is the editing quality. No doubt about it, these guys are absolute scumbags, but again, their editing skills are much better than mine. That's becoming a recurring theme when I watch these sort of videos. But basically for the second video, what they did, they edited it so it would basically have the same theme as the video game Manhunt. I'm sure some of you guys have played that game. I certainly have, and back in the day, Manhunt was an extremely controversial game. It was essentially accused of glorifying violence, and here in the UK back in 2004, there was a murder case where a 17-year-old murdered his 14-year-old friend with a claw hammer and a knife. And one of the things that came out in the trial was that the killer, Warren LeBlanc, was obsessed with Manhunt, the video game, and they tried to blame Manhunt on why he committed the murder. And there were several other cases like this surrounding the video game Manhunt. It was a very controversial game. In fact, back in the day, when it came out. I even vaguely remember reports on the news basically just destroying this game, you know, saying it was degenerate, ultra-violent, and it should be banned. So yeah, a very controversial game, arguably the most controversial game in the last 20 years. But anyway, I digress. For the second video, once again, it opens up with a title screen. Once the title screen ends, it then actually plays the opening segment of the video game Manhunt.
These streets are being patrolled by gangs. They're scum, just like you. And they're here to hunt you down and cut you up. I'll try to direct you as best I can, but other than that, you're on your own. It's up to you. Okay, are you ready? Camera, action.
Once the Manhunt segment finishes, it then plays basically a compilation of various different assaults. In most of these clips, they actually use pepper spray in their attacks, so they would, you know, spray the homeless people in the eyes, and then they would basically just kick their heads in. As I mentioned in the second video, there's less stabbing clips, it's mainly just assaults. One of the worst assault clips was they basically knocked out a homeless guy in the middle of the night. It looked like it was in the woods, and he's on the floor knocked out. Then they basically continuously soccer kick his head, and you can hear the noise that it's making. It's making like a thudding noise, and as this is happening, you can just see the guy's head rolling around like a pinball machine. There is one stabbing clip in the second video. Basically, they find a homeless man laying on what appears to be a park bench. They kick him off, they then knock him out and stab him in the sides a few times. And the last clip is another assault, and arguably this is the worst assault clip. They find a homeless man in the woods. Once again, you know, they continuously kick his head in, knock him out. When he's knocked out, they spray pepper spray all in his face. Once they've done that, the clip basically skips forwards, and you see one of the attackers grab like a small rock, and he launches it at the unconscious man's head, which cuts his head open, and then the clip ends. Once that clip ends, then the end credits roll, and in the background they are, you know, playing Manhunt gameplay footage as the credits are rolling. And that is the second video, and that is the case of Project Sanitater 88. I know there's not too much information available surrounding these guys, but nevertheless I found this case very interesting, but extremely disturbing, considering what I have watched. They're not the most graphic videos I've seen, but I would describe them as triggering. Watching these videos honestly just made me angry. Like, the guys behind this were complete cowards, attacking helpless homeless people who had no way to defend themselves. Yeah, the guys behind these videos were complete cowards. I guarantee these guys have never been in a real fight, a one-on-one fight. They're too cowardly. And, you know, these sort of videos just wind me up and get to me, to be honest. More so than cartel videos, which are far more graphic, but these sort of videos just really piss me off. I hope the guys behind it are in prison and are having a horrible time. Hopefully they're getting back some of what they dished out. Complete scumbags, as far as I'm concerned. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know there's not too much backstory behind these guys, but I found this case interesting nonetheless. And, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you guys have any ideas or video topics, please feel free to share them below. It would be much appreciated. And also I'd like to apologise to you guys for deviating from my usual upload day of Friday in the last couple of weeks. Basically, last week was just extremely busy with work, and honestly I was just drained. And this week I've had the flu, so I found it really hard to record. I think my voice even now sounds a bit different, so apologies if I don't sound quite as clear. But yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks, I'm not gonna lie, but hopefully we're now through the worst of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I appreciate your patience. As always, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.